Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is A Woman's Prerogative. And we're going to be talking about divine intervention or dumb luck. So today's topic is really reflective around some things that have been happening with me. I always like to share them, especially when I think that it might help someone else out there. Joining me is the star of our show. Her name is Marissa Dria, and she is currently in Australia. And we've been together since 2019. And so I really appreciate all the loyalty and support that she has shown to me and to our global network. She even has one of our logo merchandise mugs where she is showing us her branding and her loyalty. She'll share that with us in a few minutes. And she is a transformation expert when it comes to helping leaders, helping engineers. She is a certified coach. She's got a number of certifications, and she'll tell us all about that. Let's welcome Marissa to the program. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I am wonderful, and thank you for having me and having me back. And it is always wonderful to be here with you.
Well, thank you. It's always wonderful to see you. And week after week, year after year, we are still here providing world-class education. And I just thank you for making the time, because there's always other things that we could be doing, right? Other people we could be joining and collaborating with. So thank you for continuously coming back and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. Marissa, we have people joining us all the time. The numbers keep going up and up and up. Thank you so much wherever you are in the world. So I'd love for you to give a brief overview about you and what it is that you do and how you can help our audience.
So I am a leadership development and transformation coach, and I also help within the leadership development space. So what does this mean? Well, if you are a new leader thinking about stepping into leadership, or you are a leader that is moving up within your leadership space, this is where I assist. And we do this in a number of different ways. So one of them is through coaching, but there's also, of course, training and other things that we provide within the leadership space to help us be a little bit more human within our space. And as I mentioned to one of the people that I coach just earlier today, as a leader, sometimes there's things that we need to do. For instance, we might need to, at some point, let somebody go. And being able to do that in a way that feels human and leaves them with their dignity intact, and us feeling good about the process that we went through, even though we might not feel great about the fact that we needed to let them go. That is all within our control. And working out how to do that really well, as an example, would be something that we might work on as within our coaching conversations. This is, of course, one example of many, because I am sure when you think about your leadership space, there's many different things that can happen. And difficult conversations is but one of them. So that is what I do and typically how I interact with people. And of course, you can get hold of me via my email, which is mariska@journeytodiscover.com. So that's on this little banner below. Or alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn. And for that, I am now done, Dr. JACALYN, because I would love to jump into our topic today.
Beautiful. I would love to jump in as well. And thank you to Danish Ra. I hope I said your name right, over on YouTube watching. Hello to you. So today was an interesting day because a number of things happened and they were completely unexpected. So the one that I want to start off with, and the reason why I call this divine intervention or dumb luck, is because I was expecting something to happen based on an appointment that was set up, actually 2 appointments. And it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And it could have almost gone in a horrible way. So what I'll share is that I have applied for 2 trademarks. And these trademarks are for things in this business. I have other trademarks that I've applied for, but most of them were either right before the pandemic or right after the pandemic. So I followed the process. I'm here in the United States. There's a process that you follow. You go to a website, which I'm going to show in a moment, and you pay a certain amount of money, and then you wait until it's called a mark, the trademark. You wait until the mark is going through the process, and then they tell you that you can go from the little TM trademark to the registered symbol. So in the States, it's an R and then a circle around it. So I applied, I paid the money for each of these marks, and I got an email saying right away that they had received it, and it came from the United States government. And I looked at the email address, and anyway, everything was fine. So a couple of months later, I got an email for each of the marks on different days from different people who claimed to be an attorney with the United States government, and that they had set up an appointment for a specific day and a specific time for me to call to answer some questions about the mark, and that this was a typical process. Well, I didn't remember it being a typical process because that's not what had happened in the past. But I thought maybe as a result of the pandemic, things were different. So I checked everything on the email and everything looked legitimate. It had case number, a document number, it had the right name of the mark, et cetera, et cetera. So today was the day that I was supposed to have a call with 2 different attorneys, one for one mark and one for the other. And in fairness, the one for the first mark, I had actually missed the original call. It was back in August, and so it was rescheduled to this. And I'm specifically not saying what the names of the trademarks are because there are a lot of people out there who will jump all over this, and I'll be getting a zillion calls. So what ended up happening was both calls were today, which is our busiest day, and I'm producing all the shows. Sometimes I'm not, we have other producers, but today I'm producing all the shows. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to have this call. And in my mind, it was going to be a very short call. It was probably going to be 5 or 10 minutes just. So the first call came in, and this person had all the information about the mark and about my businesses, et cetera, and said that he wanted to know, did I want this trademark to be only in the United States, in North America, or international to 115 countries? So I said, well, does that mean if it's in 115 countries that no one else in those countries can use this mark? And the person said, yes, that is correct. So I said, okay, I will go with the international one. So he then said, I see that you've applied for a second trademark for something else. Would you like me to take care of that as well? And I said, well, actually, I have an email and it's a different attorney from the government that I'm supposed to be working with. And he said, well, I can handle both of them for you. Now, in the meantime, I'm producing the show. I'm bringing people up, taking people down, putting up banners, going to commercial. as you know, you can't be listening and doing something at the same time, right? So I was starting to get nervous, and this person kept asking me more and more questions, nothing personal, nothing that wouldn't be available. So he finally said that's going to be $1,150. And I said, but I already paid initially when I applied. And he said, well, that's just part of the process. And then it goes to me, and then you're going to get a call from another person. And then eventually it's going to be either approved or not approved. So I said, I can't pay for this right now. I'm in the middle of doing something. So I opened up the web page where I would go and pay. And I said, I can't do it now. I have to go. I'll get back to you. So finish the show. Then 15 minutes before the call supposed to come for the second show, I get a call, and it's from an unknown person who has their agent number, the case number. You can write this down, blah, blah, blah. And the person was talking really fast. And I said, I don't feel like you're listening to me. I teach listening courses and you're not listening. You just keep over talking me. So she finally stopped talking. And I said, someone else is supposed to be working on this case, and I'm supposed to speak with her in 15 minutes. And the person said, well, there are all these scams going out there. Don't talk to anyone. I hope you didn't give your information, blah, 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 blah. So starts asking questions. And now it's going to be, I think, $2,000 for the international package. So now I'm thinking something doesn't seem right. In the meantime, I'm producing this show. So I'm thinking, this seems like it's a scam. So I went to this website, which I'm going to pull up now, and it's the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And so the site that the other two people had me go to looked very similar to this, but the woman in the middle was not there, and it was a man with gray hair. And so I thought to myself, something doesn't make sense. So I went up to the top to look at the exact address, and there was one letter that was different than the rest of them. And I thought, okay, this is a scam. But it was so good. It was so good. And the one person had nothing to do with the other person. So what I ended up doing was I blocked their number. The second person said, did the phone number come from 571, which is typically a Washington, D.C. number, followed by X, Y, and Z? And I said, no, but it's close to that. Don't talk to anyone from any number in Washington except for this number. So I went to artificial intelligence and I put in the information, and it came up and it said, it's a scam. So I was so upset that I almost paid that money for each of those marks. I would have been out $3,000, $4,000. And I actually went to the government website. I put in the number of each mark, and they're both going through the process. And it says, do not speak to anyone. The government will contact you directly via email. But I had already gotten 2 emails that look like they came from the government. So I want to say to everyone out there, the scammers are getting more and more, what's the word? Devious.
Yes.
Devious. So buyer beware. And especially if you're like me, you're in the middle of doing things. So anybody out there, don't think you're calling me and I'm not going to know that it's a scam. I already know. So I'm not taking any calls from anyone about any trademarks. And by the way, Danish says hello to Mariska watching from Pakistan. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate that. So Mariska, what are your thoughts about what I just shared with you?
Well, it sounds like divine intervention that they wanted to do it on your busiest day. And you actually had time and didn't have time. So you didn't have time to actually go through the process with them. And you did have time to separate yourself from it, have some of these things play out that needed to play out, to sort of go, hello, there's a few red lights. What the hell's happening? Because it is getting really, really scary how sophisticated they are getting around websites, emails, phone numbers. Typically, if I didn't phone you, I utilize your dad's approach to phones, in the sense of, if I didn't phone you and you are phoning me and I don't know your number, I will most probably not answer it. Because there's so many things that would happen potentially. I got, Dr. JACALYN, speaking of government-related emails, I got a couple of emails now, actually, from the US government also, mentioning that I have a visa application in place. I'm like, what? No, I don't. Not to that country. What the hell? But I've had a few now of that. So I'm blocking them and removing them out of my inbox. But it is phenomenal, the amount of scams going around. So yes, buyer beware indeed.
Absolutely. So I think we just wanted to share that. I definitely wanted to bring it up so that anybody out there who's getting phone calls, just seriously research it. I mean, the second person who called was so sophisticated. I'm agent so-and-so, write down my agent number. This is case number, et cetera, et cetera. And it just sounds so professional. And they didn't just call out of the blue. They each sent an email. And I would pull the email up, but I don't want to show all the details about everything that's on there. But it's it was spot on with all the information. So obviously there is a database where people can go and they can get this information. And then they start masquerading as agents, which, by the way, I believe is a crime. So beware out there, whoever is contacting you via email or text. I also saw we have something called Easy Pass here. And so you don't have to take out your money and pay every time you go through a toll booth on the highway. Now they also have pay by plate. If you don't have that, they get your plate. And there's scams going around about that you owe so much money or you didn't pay your fee when you came through the toll. And obviously, these are things that start getting people worried, I'm not a toll breaker. I want to pay the money. And then it didn't happen to me, but I read about it, that it's happened to other people. I mean, for me, we know that I got scammed out of that book launch at Waterstones in Piccadilly, that they took my money. They have not answered the demand letter. So I'm moving forward. They have 100 books that I paid for that they've never sent to me. So there are companies out there that, they act like they're, doing it's to a small business owner. And you think because they are working with other people that So what I would say to everyone and anyone is, regardless of who refers you to someone, if I refer someone to you, do your own research. Do your own research and make sure that you feel comfortable that the company is a legitimate company.
Yes. Speaking of, I had an experience where when we came to Australia, we had to, for the interim, book an Airbnb, but for a longer period. So typically when we book Airbnbs, it would be for a week or a weekend or something like that. But this specific case was more for, I think we had to book it for about 2 months. And because it's such a long period and it is Airbnb, it sort of adds up. So what I did is I found the place that we wanted to stay at, and I thought, well, I will contact the people that has the place and see whether I can potentially negotiate something, whether there's any discounts because it's a longer period, that sort of thing. And the poor person that I contacted thought I was a scammer because they are getting so sophisticated. So I needed to prove to them first that, hey, this is a legitimate request. I don't want you guys to pay anything to me. I actually want to find out whether I can stay in this apartment that you guys have available for this period of time. So it is really, it's making life actually uncomfortable because people are doing things that just, why? There's better ways to make a living and to be in life in general than to scam others. I mean, I know sometimes it's tough, but there's better ways of going about life, really.
Absolutely. Yes. Thanks for sharing that. It brings to mind when I was married back in the dark ages, the stone ages. Did they have telephones then? No, I'm kidding. Well, my husband at the time, he decided to get us this incredible trip to Hawaii, and everything was first class. And so it turns out he used points. I don't know what kind of points they were, if they're American Express or something. And it turns out the whole thing was fake. So whatever he had redeemed his points for didn't exist. And so there was a lot of points and they were worth money, but it ended up that we had to pay for everything out of pocket because it was a complete scam.
Oh no. Yeah, and I mean that it's been going around for ages, right? This is not something new. It is something that we just need to keep vigilant about in general, because it can happen at any point in time.
Absolutely, because these people they think they're getting more and more creative. But the truth is, it is annoying because as a peace ambassador, you want to think, I always think the best of people, which obviously is a mistake. My father used to say, no, make people prove themselves to you first. And I still slip into that where I feel like everyone is a good person. I feel like everyone has a good heart and everyone means well. Because if you have the mindset, like my father used to say, I don't want to be like that, it doesn't feel good in your body to think everyone is bad and make them prove themselves. Or I don't know if my dad actually meant it that way. But as far as I'm concerned, I like to believe in humanity, that people mean well and that it's just the off person here or there that doesn't do the right thing. But I don't think that's actually the case.
Well, there is the saying about a couple of flies that would make the whole batch of ointment go rotten. So it is a lot of that. It doesn't take a lot of badness out there to make a whole bunch of people not trust. And I'm in your camp. I think inherently people are good. We are, especially when we live from a more conscious way of living, right? The universe, everything is made for us to thrive, for us to be in a good place. So we don't really need to do all of these things. If we are prone to doing them, in all possibility, it is because the consciousness level might not be so great yet. And we need to work on that. So, yeah, it's
very true. It's that old saying, there's no free lunch, right? It's almost like I was thinking today as I was working on, I took this class where it's divided, it's an hour, and half the time you're on the treadmill running intervals for 2 minutes, then 1 minute, you take the speed up and take the incline up, and then you do 30 minutes on the floor. And it never gets easier, right? One of the exercises was to do a push-up, then come down to the floor, chest to the floor, then lift your hands, and then do a push-up and keep doing it until you no longer can do any more. And at one point, I thought to myself, I'm really getting tired, but I could still do more. And it just dawned on me that anything that you really want that's easy to get is not going to challenge you, right? It's not that interesting, I would say. And I'm not saying everything, but for example, fitness, it's not easy to get into shape and it's not easy to stay in shape. So it all matters, regardless of what your container looks like. Some people could be really thin, but yet they're not in good shape, or somebody could be a little stockier and they're more muscle and maybe they're in better shape. Who knows? It's just generalization. And it's like starting a business. It's not easy. And there are things like this that trip you up, that could set you back. And I know when I first started out, you already know this, that I hired some people, I spent a lot of money, and they didn't do what they were saying they were going to do. And the other people hired them also, and they didn't do what they said they were going to do for them either. But you can't stay stuck there, because they're moving on and you have to move on too. And you hope that you glean some kind of knowledge or experience where you don't make the same mistake. I mean, I could have made a similar mistake today, and thank goodness that the red flags went off that something doesn't seem right.
Yeah. And that's how we learn. It literally reminds me of a conversation that I had with one of my clients not so long ago around, I think it was patience and learning patience. And then the realization about, well, if I want to learn this thing, I will be in places where I have an opportunity to learn it, which means I'm going to be in places that tests my patience. It's not going to be easier for me to necessarily be patient because I need to learn the skill. It's a skill set to develop. And that's with everything in life, right? So the things that we find easy typically is something that we've either done a long time, we're really skillful at it already, it's something that we don't have to worry about. And things that we find really, really, really difficult is the ones where we still need to do a bit of that exercise. Like you mentioned, Dr. JACALYN, physically, we don't get fit if we don't put in a little bit of sweat and sometimes tears. And the same goes for the rest of life. We won't learn it, we won't grow in that space if we don't actually go through a little bit of the sweat and potentially tears in that space. So I think physical exercise, Dr. JACALYN, I know you love it to bits, is a very good metaphor for life in general and the way that we can potentially approach it, if we so choose.
Very true. Very true. I think for me with the fitness, my mother was very fit and she was very strong. I used to tease her. By the way, this is her blouse. I love wearing her things. I used to tease her because she had a very strong back from playing tennis. She had a wicked two-handed backhand. And I used to say, Mom, I'm not going to do it. But I imagine if I picked up a brick and I threw it at your back, it would just bounce off because your back is so strong. And so I was always intrigued by how she kept herself in such great shape. And she was out playing competitive tennis until she was 80 years of age for the Delray Beach tennis team. I mean, in Florida, it was super hot and she'd be out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And she had a routine. She'd get up and she'd eat her oatmeal and she'd eat her, oh my gosh, her yogurt, and she would have her tea and she'd have the paper and she'd have her hat on and she'd be ready to go. And then she would get in the car. She had her little tennis dress on and it just made me smile because that's how determined she was. And of course, then COVID came and then things changed. So to me, I'm always curious as I age, how much more will my body go? How much more will it grow? So now I'm eating more protein than I've ever eaten before because to grow muscles, you have to have, protein. So I think that's a big part of it. And something else I wanted to talk about today, when you think about divine intervention or just dumb luck. So Philip Sykes and I, one of our team members, we were going to be doing this retreat and we changed the name of it, but it really was from chaos to calm. And it started out, we had a number of bookings and we expanded it to a second day. And then we really didn't get the number of bookings that we needed in order to have a private dinner with a private chef, et cetera. So I just made the decision to call it off. And it was supposed to be this 18th and 19th of September. So I called it off maybe last week, I think. And lo and behold, today, an opportunity came over the same dates. And I'm not going to go into exactly what it is, but I was literally speechless. And when the person proposed this opportunity, it's an opportunity for me to teach one of my courses and to collaborate with some really high level people. I thought to myself, there's no way I can make this happen because it's coming up pretty quickly. And then I said, you know what? We can always make things happen. Let's think with a clear head. Let's look at the calendar. And so my new book launch was coming out on the 23rd 3rd in alignment with International Day of Peace, which I think is the 21st. And I'm actually presenting on that day. And I thought, you know what? It's okay if I don't have the new book, Holy But Harmful, out on that exact day, because I still have Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. So I pushed it back a month. And I started looking at different things. How could I free up this and this? So now I will have an announcement coming that I'm going to be traveling someplace I've never been, meeting with people I've never met before, except for one person who was the one getting the downloads, which I'm not going to share right now. And from there, I'll be returning to the States, and I will be speaking at a major event in Washington, D.C., and I will be sharing one of my courses, which is how to be a world-class global broadcaster, and then attending a gala where I will be one of the honorees for top 100 global empowered women. I forget the exact title. And it all happened today, not the second part, because I'm already being honored, but the speaking part. So was it divine intervention that the retreat didn't work out for those dates? We're going to reschedule it. Or was it dumb luck? I don't know. What do you think?
Wow. I'm wondering what the person that gets the downloads had to say about this. And I vague suspicion that the universe might have arranged things in a way so that you can do this other thing instead of the thing that you thought you were going to do, but still having the same dates available.
It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So those are the two things that now I'll be teaching, setting boundaries and asking permission in another country, and then doing some major collaborations, and then also speaking in Washington, D.C. Both of those things are this month. And then, of course, with the scammers who tried to get me, and I was a step ahead of them, fortunately. So. What about you when you think about divine intervention or dumb luck? Have you ever had something happen and you're just like, wow, I can't believe that?
Let's see. So recently, and this is very new for me, and well, on this platform even newer. So now everybody will know that I'm doing this weird thing that nobody else knows about. Well, very few people know that. I have asked my husband a while back to get me some tarot cards. So tarot cards, for those that doesn't know what that is, they look a little bit like this. That's the pack.
Wow.
So he got them for me. And the reason why I wanted them was to tap into my intuition more and using that as a tool, right? So that was the intention for why I wanted to get them. And this year, August-ish, I decided that I wanted to start to play with them just a little bit more and see what happens. So I've been making it a almost daily practice to tap into my higher self and ask a question, whatever the question is that day that comes up, or whatever is happening on my calendar, and maybe I need some guidance on. And then I would use the cards and see what comes up. And interestingly enough, during all of August, so I was working on a program for leaders to be more coach-like in the environment with a specific organization. And as I worked on this program, during August, I actually use the cards quite often. And a lot of the time, the cards would tell me that so I would get a lot of the wands. So typically wands means movement. So I would get a lot of the wand types of cards coming through, which means move. And I needed to get this training sorted out because we want to start actually giving it to the leaders by the end of this month. And during that time, I was also very nervous about the whole thing. Will it work? Would people like it? All the sort of inner voice things that happens for most of us. Yes, it happens to me too. I am still human. So all of these things were happening as well. And every now and again, I would I would just have the question around, what is it that I needed to concentrate on? What's happening? And I would get things like the Wheel of Fortune, which is a really good card to get in the sense of opportunities are opening and things are coming into your life that you want to have come into your life. And yet I will still feel a little bit nervous about everything. So what I have discovered, divine intervention wise, it wasn't necessarily a divine intervention. It was more of a slap across the head with a stick, but I need it from time to time. I can be quite stubborn. Was the fact that my best intentions that my higher self and the universe and God has for me will be realized, and I don't have to worry about it so much and tense myself up about things. I just need to do whatever the thing is in front of me, and it will be fine, because that's the message that I kept getting, and it is fine. I had a wonderful meeting with the person within the organization that I am working with to make sure that we have everything covered in the course material. And they were so happy. It was such a great meeting. I loved it. And just after that meeting, I was like, oh, okay, I could have listened a little bit more. And I got my messages. So yes, intuition-wise, I can say that I am learning a lot of very hard lessons.
Thank you for sharing that. That's very exciting. I think you bring up a great point, which is we don't always listen to our intuition. I mean, usually that little voice is there, or when we're doing something that doesn't feel right, we have something in the pit of our stomach or just this tightness, and yet we go ahead anyway. And I know in the last maybe 2 years, I've really been able to let go of that. I just say to myself, this doesn't feel good. Just like today on the call with that guy, the woman, I should say, it's just something doesn't seem right. And I also knew not to make the payment when they were pressuring me, the first call and then the second call. Well, you can make the payment now. Anytime someone's pressuring you about making payments, that typically is not a good sign, because typically people want to work with you, right? They want to help you. They want to, okay, this is what your situation is. I know myself that I do that with people, and they say something's come up. Okay, let's figure out what we can work out. But when someone starts pressuring you like that, usually there's a reason for it, and they're trying to instill fear or any of those lower vibrations.
I am absolutely with you on that. If I start to get pressurized for payments, you know what? In that case, it's not for me at this time. Thank you so very much.
Click.
I'll just let it go. I don't need that energy in my life. So why would I want to literally spend money on it? No thanks.
And by the way, when someone starts to make you feel bad, in other words, you feel bad by their behavior, then that's a sign also. That's definitely a sign. What I do now, and I've done in the last couple of years, is if there's any negative, I want to use the word discord, I just delete it from my phone. I don't want any negativity on my phone. So if it's a text message, it's an email, it's a voicemail, delete. I don't need it. And I will go through my call log as well as my voicemails and even text messages. And after so many months, I just delete all of it, because I'll never forget, I'm dating this person. This is like 25 years ago. And I don't remember what we were dealing with then, if it was I think it was those Nextel phones. I don't remember. But anyway, there was some kind of voicemail that I guess I must have left. And the guy brought it up to me, and I was like, that's from last year. Like, why do we even still have that message? Because I'm not someone who lives in the past. I live in the present. So I always feel like it's good. I just did a show on decluttering. I think it's good to declutter your devices. Like, why are you holding on to those messages or those emails if they're not bringing you value in your life? I could see if it's a reference that you made a payment for something or you made a commitment with someone, but otherwise, why hold on to it? Let it go.
Yes. I mean, if you don't need it for some form of tax purposes or documentation purposes, and it is not generative, don't see the point of having it. Right? Personally, I really don't. One of the reasons why I am really bad with general news. It is not in my life. I don't watch news. It's not that I don't care what happens in the world. I do care what happens in the world. And the way that it is presented on those specific platforms, I am not interested in.
Agreed.
So
I feel the same way as you.
Yeah. If I need to know something, I'll be told by somebody that it is impacting.
That's right. Somebody will reach out to you. I know for me, I have a number of televisions here and I don't turn them on. So the only thing I do is I watch streaming service. Sometimes I watch it from my phone because I'm typically at night, I'm always working. I will be up till maybe 11 or 12 o'clock working because I have all these creative ideas and I've got to get them done and then do the back end for the YouTube channels. And anyway, when I do watch something, usually it's something where I don't actually have to think. So some of the shows that I love, not a paid spokesperson, but I love the show Love is Blind. I'm watching Love is Blind UK right now. And it's just interesting to me how people can meet through a wall and to see where it goes, but I don't have to give it a lot of thought. And by the time I'm finished watching it, I'll say, well, that's interesting how they found out this about the other one. And then they actually get together in person and it's not what they thought it was going to be, or it is what, but it's not a lot of work. It's kind of just lighthearted. And they're the kind of shows that I like to watch. So you will not catch me. Actually, I don't even have any live television. Everything is streaming. So I can't actually, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are playing football tonight. I won't be able to watch it because I can't watch anything live. I'm sure I could go onto YouTube, but I don't feel like I have to do anything in that moment. And so we have a number of folks who are watching us now live, which is great, but we're also available for people to watch whenever they want. And after the live television show, we become a podcast. So there's a number of things that we have to do that, but people can then listen to us. They can walk around just listening to what we have to say. So we're basically giving people options. And that's what I think is so great.
It is. And I mean, it also sounds like there's an intentionality for using that specific device, right? So yeah, there's a TV. Do I need to have it on 24/7? No. Do I need to watch only certain programming on it? No. If it is something that you find interacting, so what you mentioned is the dating show, we have a tendency to love any home shows where they're renovating a house or they doing something up or a love it listed sort of thing, because I find inspiration in going, ooh, I really like that. And seeing how I can potentially maybe bring it into my own space, right? So I sleuth them for inspiration more so than anything else. But yes, it's a relaxing, fun way of doing other things, and it's intentional, right? So there's an intention behind it. It is to relax. It is not there to drown out your life. Because come on, live it. You are
Exactly.
here.
Exactly. I'm watching the clock because our show is going to be on E360 at the top of the hour, so I have to be conscious. But I just had my nails done. I know some people hate them, and that's okay. You can judge me all you want, but that's on you. But as I was having them done, they have this huge television and they have the Bon Appetit cooking channel on there. I'm not a paid spokesperson. And I thought it was so enjoyable just watching the chefs cook. You can't hear anything, right? Because they don't have the volume on. But I learned a few things. They've got, captions, and I thought, wow, that's really a nice use of time. Like now, if I wanted to cook whatever they were cooking, then that would be great. And I love the makeover shows. I love even shows that are about animals. My mom used to always watch the Nature Channel, and I'd be like, Mom, how many gorillas can you watch? But now I get it. It makes a lot of sense. So it's a good way to learn something, because I'm always curious, as I know you are. And at the same time, you're not caught up in the negativity, because there's so much of it and people just get sucked into it. I know people, no names, I know people with the television on all the time, all the time. And even though you're sitting there with them, you're talking over the TV like this. And you'll say, why don't you turn the volume down? Why don't they? But they can't, because they're so used to it. Or I know people who have the radio on, they have music on all the time. I like the silence, because in the silence, I start to grow. I start to think. And if I have music or something on, then that's kind of a distraction. I will play a Mariah Carey song, not a paid spokesperson. It's called Make It Happen. And I'd play it now, but it'd be a copyright violation. But I play it in the morning, and it's this song about, I guess it's a true story, I don't know, about what she went through. She was living on the streets, didn't have any money. Maybe it's not her song story, it's maybe somebody else's. And every day I pray to the Lord to make it happen. And so that to me is very encouraging, when I actually read the words of the songs so I can see what they're trying to say. And I think, you know what, anytime I get down, 3 minutes, make it happen, and then I'm back on to whatever I was doing.
Yeah, I love that. So personally, I grew up in a household where the radio was on constantly, not top volume, but so that you can hear the music. And I enjoy the silence. It's a little bit like space. If there was no space, we would not see stars. So if there is no silence, you cannot create sound. We need the silence in order to do all of these other things and to bring new things into the world. So I try to give myself space and silence and emptiness as far as possible in order to see what comes in, to have some divine, potentially, interventions when we have space on our calendar.
Very true, very true. And just last comment about this. When I was younger, I've always been a runner, working out, and I would have a Walkman, or I'd have headphones or something. I don't have any headphones when I work out. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want any noise in my head, because as you're exercising, for me, it gives me an opportunity to just let go. And today I was kind of stressed out about the one thing that happened, and then excited about the other two things, and trying to think of how it was all going to happen. And so if I had headphones with the music blaring, first of all, it's not good for your ears. My mom lost her hearing in one of her ears. And to be with someone who's lost hearing is a really difficult thing for them, and also for you. And I don't want to take that chance. And I also don't want to fill my head with a bunch of loud banging music, or even listening to a podcast or something. I don't want it right there in my ears. I want some distance from it. So to me, I find, to your point about making space, and when you make space, you can actually think clearly, more clearly, about what's happened to you and how you're really feeling about it. I think sometimes people stuff their feelings. They don't actually want to process it. So let's just watch television. I mean, if you're watching something like this, it's educational. I'm hoping people take away some key points. There's no negativity in here. We're not, yelling at each other, name calling. We're not going on at the end of the world is coming. We have to leave the United States. We have to leave this country, that country. I mean, it's amazing to me. People have so many negative things to say. Why not be part of something positive and make changes that are positive? So that being said, we have to go, because our show is going to go over to E360 TV and all of their channels. So Mariska, what would you like to leave our audience with today?
Well, like with anything in life, when we look for them, we will find them. So my question to you is, where are you seeing some divine interventions that is creeping in, bringing in things into your life that would not have been there if you did the thing that you planned? And I am sure that it is turning out quite a lot better than you thought. And of course, if you are a leader and you would like to get hold of me to work on whatever leadership challenge it is that you might have, you can do so via my email, which is mariska@journey2discover.com. I know Dr. JACALYN has dreams of me saying the number 2. Or alternatively, you can also find me on my website. So there's a place where you can fill in a form. So you can contact me via my website, which is journey2, again, number 2, discover.com. Or alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn. And there it's nice and easy. You can send me a direct message and we can start our conversation. So that's how you get hold of me. And of course, Dr. JACALYN, it was loads of fun unpacking this topic as
Thank you so much, my dear friend. It was great seeing you, and you're a day ahead of us. And so it's evening where I am and it's morning where you are. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you next week for Talking Heads.
Oh, yes.
All right. Bye for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please do reach out to Mariska. We also love to hear from you. So thank you to our friend Danish in Pakistan. We appreciate you reaching out. Just a couple of very quick, I got to speed through this, announcements. I have a new book coming out, Holy But Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives. This is an extension of the work that I do teaching people listening skills in my book, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. It's available right now on pre-order on Amazon. Go over to Amazon, put in Holy But Harmful, put in my name, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. You will find it. I think it's 99 cents. Okay. The other thing is I have a brand new TV show, Judgment, the Hidden Sin, How Judgment Shapes Our Relationships, Workplaces, and Beliefs. I know Mariska will be signing up to join me as a guest co-host. We just had Mr. Al Sini who joined me, and the show's actually booked out, I think, until December. And of course, if you want to join Mariska and be a brand ambassador, you can go over to our spread shop, which we'll be sharing the link and also the commercial for this very soon. We'd love to have as many people as possible joining us as we continue to grow across the world. We're adding in new shows. We just did our French show, episode 3, La Voix de la Garçon, with Reverend Lydia Fugeres. And we also have a brand new German show starting on the 16th with Roland Friedel. Okay, that's all for now. Over to our sponsors very quickly. Bye, everyone.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.